Some betrayals don't end your life. They only light the fire that brings you back stronger. Lena was thrown into the rain by the aunt she trusted. But years later, fate flipped the script, and the same aunt came knocking, begging for a home. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Rain rolled down the cracked window as Lena sat quietly on the cold floor of her aunt's house, hugging her small bag. She was 16, tired and confused, wondering why her life always felt like a storm she couldn't escape. Her aunt, Reby, stood by the doorway with her arms folded, her face twisted with irritation. I can't keep feeding you, Lena, she snapped. You're not my responsibility. Your mother made her choices, and I won't carry the burden. Lena looked up, her voice trembling. Annie, please. I'll work harder. I'll wash plates, clean, do anything. Just don't send me out tonight. Reby hissed loudly. I said leave. You bring nothing but bad luck into this house. She opened the door wide, letting the cold night air sweep in. Lena's heart sank as she stepped into the darkness, unsure where she would go next. The street was quiet, only lit by the dim yellow glow of old streetlights. Lena clutched her bag and walked aimlessly, her mind spinning. Why me? She whispered to herself, wiping tears that mixed with the rain. She stopped at an abandoned shop with a small wooden overhang and curled up beneath it. Thunder grumbled overhead. As she tried to fall asleep, a deep voice startled her. Young girl, what are you doing out here? Lena looked up to see an elderly man holding a lantern. He wore a faded coat but had gentle eyes. My aunt, she threw me out, Lena muttered. The man sighed. Some people forget that their cruelty always returns to them one day. He offered her a warm blanket. Sleep here for tonight. You're safe. For the first time in hours, Lena breathed deeply, not knowing that this night would shape the rest of her destiny. Morning light crept through the gaps of the metal shop door, warming Lena's cold cheeks. She sat up slowly and saw the elderly man sweeping the front of his small kiosk. He smiled slightly when he noticed she was awake. Good morning, child. I'm Taro, he said gently. Lena stood embarrassed. Sir, thank you for last night. I didn't mean to disturb. Taro shook his head. You disturbed nothing. Life is kinder when we help those who need it. He pointed to a stool beside him. Sit. I made breakfast. Lena blinked in surprise as he handed her a warm piece of bread and tea. Why are you helping me? She asked quietly. Taro chuckled. Because someone once helped me when I needed it. Lena lowered her gaze, tears pooling. I don't know what to do now. I have nowhere to go. Taro paused, then said softly. You can stay by the shop for now. Help me with small things. We'll figure out the rest. For the first time, Lena felt a small spark of hope. Days turned into weeks, and Lena became part of Taro's simple routine. She swept the shop, arranged goods, learned how to serve customers, and listened to Taro's old stories. Pain doesn't last forever, he often told her, but strength that stays. One afternoon, as they closed the kiosk, Taro suddenly held his chest and staggered. Taro. Lena rushed to him, panic flooding her. He leaned on her shoulder, breathing heavily. I'm fine, just old bones, he said, but his trembling hands told a different story. We're going to the clinic, Lena insisted. She practically dragged him there. The nurse examined him and sighed. He needs treatment and medication. Without family support, it might be difficult. Taro looked at Lena weakly. I suppose this is where my journey slows. But Lena shook her head fiercely. I'm your family now. I'll handle everything. Taro's eyes softened. You're stronger than they ever gave you credit for. Lena worked extra hours at the kiosk, wiping sweat from her forehead as she moved from customer to customer. She saved every coin, buying Taro's medication and cooking simple meals for him. At night, she read old magazines he kept on a dusty shelf, teaching herself new words and dreaming of a life where she wouldn't depend on anyone's mercy. One evening, Taro sat beside her, watching her quietly. Lena, he began softly, you have a bright mind. Don't trap yourself here forever because of me. She shook her head. You saved me. You gave me a place to stand. I can't leave you. Taro placed a gentle hand on hers. Helping you was never alone. It was a seed. And seeds must grow. Lena looked down, unsure. But where do I start? Taro smiled. Start by believing you belong in places bigger than this kiosk. Months passed, and Lena slowly transformed from a frightened girl into a confident young woman. She enrolled in evening classes, using her savings carefully. Taro cheered for her like a proud father, always asking, "What did you learn today?" One afternoon, after class, Lena returned to the kiosk to find Taro sitting outside, staring at the sunset. She sat beside him. "You're quiet today," she observed. "Just thinking," he replied. "Thinking how fast you're growing." She chuckled. "I'm just surviving." Taro shook his head. "No, Lena. You're building." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "I wish my family saw me this way." Taro patted her back. "Some people only see your value after the world does. Don't wait for them." A year later, Lena completed her vocational training in business administration. She received her small certificate and ran to the kiosk, waving it excitedly. "Taro, I did it." He stood slowly and hugged her. "I knew you would." Customers clapped and congratulated her. That evening, she sat across from Taro as he sipped tea. "What next?" he asked. Lena hesitated. "I want to start a small store. Sell basic goods. Maybe even expand later." Taro nodded. "Good. But I have something for you." He handed her an old envelope. "Open it." Lena unfolded the paper and gasped, his kiosk ownership documents. "Taro, no, I can't take this." He smiled sadly. "I'm tired, child. You're the only family I have. Continue this place. Make it bigger than I ever could." Taking over the kiosk was overwhelming at first, but Lena learned quickly. She repainted the walls, added new stock, introduced record-keeping, and soon the humble kiosk became the busiest in the area. People admired her discipline and kindness. "That girl is going far," they often whispered. One morning, a businesswoman named Farah stopped by and watched Lena work. "You manage this place with such skill," she said, offering her card. "Come work with my company. We need someone like you." Lena stared at the card, stunned. "Me?" Farah nodded. "Yes, you." That night, Lena showed the card to Taro. He smiled proudly. "Your door has opened. Don't be afraid to walk through it." The next week, Lena accepted the job. Working at Farah's company changed Lena's world. She wore clean office clothes, learned finance, management, and leadership. People respected her. She even rented a small apartment closer to work, though she visited Taro every weekend with food and medicine. One day, Farah invited her to a meeting. "Lena," she said, "we're opening a new branch. I want you to lead it." Lena stared at her in disbelief. "Lead? But I'm still learning." Farah smiled. "And you learn fast. You're disciplined, honest, and resilient. Qualities money can't buy." Lena accepted the offer with shaking hands. That night, she sat with Taro. "Taro, they made me branch manager." He laughed joyfully. "See? Pain shapes diamonds." The branch opening was a huge success. Lena stood in front of the beautiful building with her name on a shiny office door. Colleagues clapped, congratulating her. As she walked through the hall, she whispered, "I wish my mother could see this." But she shook the thought away. Those who rejected her were now shadows of a past she no longer served. Over the next 2 years, Lena's leadership made the branch the most profitable in the region. She became well known in the business community, giving talks on resilience. At every speech, she always said, "Someone lifted me when I had nothing. So today, I stand for those who need a hand." People admired her heart as much as her success. But life shifts quickly. One rainy evening, Lena arrived at Taro's house to find him weak and barely able to speak. She rushed him to the hospital, where doctors shook their heads. "He's lived a long, full life," one said gently. Lena held Taro's hand. "Please, don't leave me yet." He smiled weakly. "Lena, don't cry. My time is ending." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "You saved me. You changed everything. Taro whispered, promise me you'll keep growing. Don't carry sadness for long. She nodded as his breathing slowed. With a final squeeze of her hand, Taro passed peacefully, leaving Lena heartbroken but deeply grateful. She arranged a proper burial, ensuring he was honored like the father he had been to her. After Taro's death, Lena poured herself into work, expanding her branch further. She opened a charitable program in his name, helping street youths learn skills just as he helped her. The community celebrated her efforts. You're becoming a blessing to many, Farah told her. But one quiet evening, as she locked her office, she saw a familiar figure standing near her car. Lena froze. Her aunt, Reby. Older, thinner, almost unrecognizable. Lena, she whispered, voice trembling. Is it really you? Lena's heart thudded. What do you want? Reby stepped closer. I need your help. Lena's jaw tightened. Help? After what you did to me? Reby broke down crying. Please, Lena. I lost everything. My husband left. My children don't speak to me. I'm sick and I have nowhere to go. Lena felt her chest tighten with old wounds. You threw me out like trash, she said coldly. In the rain. In the dark. Reby sobbed harder. I know. I was wicked. I regret it every day. Please forgive me. I just need a place to stay. Lena stared at the woman who once caused her deepest pain. Part of her wanted to walk away and never look back. But Taro's voice echoed in her memory. Strength stays. Forgiveness frees. She inhaled slowly. Come with me. Lena drove Reby to her apartment. Clean, warm, modern. Reby looked around in shock. You live here? She whispered. Lena nodded. I built my life. She prepared a small dinner and placed the plate in front of her aunt. Reby ate slowly, tears dripping into her food. I don't deserve this kindness, she murmured. Lena replied, maybe not. But I refuse to be like you were. Reby lowered her head. I'm sorry, Lena. I don't expect you to forget. Lena looked at her with a calm she never imagined she could have. I don't need you to expect anything. Just respect this space. Days passed, and Reby watched Lena move gracefully through her routines, working, managing staff, helping people. Shame grew inside her. One morning, she asked, how did you become this strong? Lena paused. Someone believed in me when you didn't. Reby looked down. I was jealous of your mother. She was always kind and people loved her. When you came to me, I took my anger out on you. Lena shook her head. That was your choice, not her fault. Reby wiped tears. I've lived long enough to feel every consequence. Lena replied softly. Good. Consequences teach what comfort hides. One weekend, Lena took Reby to the charity center she built in Taro's honor. Young boys and girls trained in different skills, laughing and learning. Reby stared around in awe. You did all this? She whispered. Yes, Lena answered. Because someone gave me hope when I had nothing. Reby covered her mouth. I don't deserve to be here. Lena looked at her. Maybe not. But you're here to learn. As they walked through the center, a young girl tugged Lena's sleeve. Miss Lena, look. I finished my assignment. Lena smiled proudly. Reby watched the exchange and whispered, you truly changed. That night, Reby approached Lena. I want to understand how you forgave me. Lena sat down slowly. It wasn't easy. I was angry for years. But anger is heavy. And Taro taught me something important. People who hurt others are usually hurting themselves. Reby swallowed. I was hurting. I was bitter. And I took it out on you. Lena replied gently. Acknowledging it is the first step. Reby cried softly. Thank you for giving me this chance. Lena nodded. Don't thank me. Prove you're different. As weeks passed, Reby began helping around the apartment, cleaning, cooking, organizing. She attended counseling through one of Lena's programs and slowly started healing. One evening, she approached Lena nervously. I want to work, she said. Not to burden you. Lena considered it. That's good. I can find a supporting role for you at the charity center. Nothing stressful. Racy's face lit up. Thank you. I won't disappoint you. Lena smiled faintly. This is your beginning. Make it count. Racy's first day at the center was emotional. The kids greeted her politely, and she helped distribute materials. After work, she said to Lena, "This place, it heals people. Even me." Over the following weeks, Racy became calmer, softer, more reflective. One afternoon, she sat with Lena at the balcony. "I'm proud of you," she said quietly. Lena looked at her, surprised. "You never said that before." Racy nodded. "Because I was too small inside. But now I see clearly. You're the kind of woman I wish I had been." Lena felt her heart shift slightly. It's never too late to change. Months rolled by, and Racy's health improved. Her confidence returned little by little. One day, she approached Lena with a hesitant smile. "Can I tell you something?" Lena nodded. Racy took her hand. "You saved my life, just as someone saved yours." Lena blinked. "I didn't save you. I simply didn't return the cruelty you gave me." Racy shook her head. "Kindness is the strongest form of power. You showed me that." Lena sighed softly. "I learned it from Taro. He believed love can rebuild what pain destroys." Racy whispered. He was right. A community event was organized at Lena's charity center, and she invited business leaders, families, and government officials. Everyone praised Lena's achievements. As she stepped onto the stage to speak, she spotted Racy in the crowd, standing straight, looking healthier, clapping proudly. Lena took a deep breath. "This center exists because someone lifted me up," she told the audience. "And today, I choose to lift others. Not because they deserve it, but because the world becomes kinder when we choose compassion over revenge." People applauded loudly. After the event, Racy hugged Lena tightly, something she had never done before. "I'm grateful," she whispered. Lena held her gently. "We're not rewriting the past, Racy. We're rebuilding the future." Racy nodded, with wet eyes. "And I want to earn the place you've given me." Lena smiled. "Then keep walking this path." They drove home together, the car filled with quiet peace instead of old tension. Weeks later, Racy surprised Lena by preparing a small dinner with candles and a handwritten note on the table. "Thank you for not giving up on me." Lena sat down slowly, touched. "Racy, this is beautiful." Racy blushed. "I wanted to show appreciation. You changed my thinking, my habits, my heart." Lena put a hand on her shoulder. "You changed yourself. I just opened the door." Racy squeezed her hand. "I'm learning to be better. For real." Lena nodded. "That's all I ever wanted." As Racy continued working at the center, she became a mentor to older women who felt abandoned or hopeless. She shared her own mistakes, helping others avoid her path. People began calling her Mama Racy, a name she carried with pride. One afternoon, she sat beside Lena under a tree outside the center. "I never imagined I would find peace," she murmured. Lena smiled. "Peace comes when we face the truth." Racy nodded. "And when someone gives us a chance to try again." Lena looked up at the sky. Taro would be proud. Years after being thrown into the rain with nothing but a small bag and trembling hope, Lena stood tall as a respected businesswoman and community leader. Beside her stood Racy, older, humbler, transformed by the kindness she once denied. As they walked out of the center together, a young girl whispered, "Miss Lena, is she your mother?" Lena paused, glanced at Racy, and smiled softly. "She's family," she replied. Racy's eyes filled with tears, gratitude shining brighter than the evening sun. And in that moment, Lena realized her greatest victory wasn't becoming successful. It was rising above her pain and turning a past filled with rejection into a future filled with healing, dignity, and grace. The same aunt who once pushed her into the darkness now walked beside her, protected by the same compassion she once ignored. And Lena knew, revenge fades, but redemption lasts forever. And please don't forget to tap the bell so every new folktale reaches you first. Tell us in the comments what you think about the story. And tell us where you're watching from. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this beautiful story with friends, family, and loved ones so they too can remember.